Hey everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name's Meredith Phillips. I'm a writer, reader, and bunny mama, and today I wanted to chat a little bit about being an introvert and having to use social media. Specifically, I want to touch on the idea of finding your persona when you are posting content on various social media platforms. Before we get into that though, I do want to remind you real quick that I have a live stream tomorrow. That's going to be Wednesday, August 18th at 4:30 Central Time. So if you want to get some writing work done or just work in general alongside some other people, definitely stop on in. I'll post a link to the live stream in the description below, and if you can make it, I'd love to see you there. So last year, almost a year ago, I posted a video called Introverts on social media, and I gave a few tips and tricks for how to interact with other people on social media if you are an introvert. I am a huge introvert. I could stay in my house for really the rest of time and not feel too sad about it. I definitely struggle in social settings, interacting with people, keeping conversation going, not being self-conscious, all that kind of stuff. And when I was first considering starting a YouTube channel, I was really nervous about it because I'm an introvert and because I was nervous about having to interact with people in comments or just putting my whole self on camera and then posting it on the internet where 7 billion people have access to it. But over the last year, more than a year now, because I've been posting on YouTube since the beginning of May 2020. Over that period of time, I've gotten much more comfortable in front of the camera, and I've learned a lot about what it means to find who you are and what version of yourself you want to post on social media. First, let me just make sure we're on kind of the same page when it comes to writing and authors and social media. If you ask literary agents, editors at publishing houses, already published authors, you'll get mixed responses on whether or not social media is necessary for authors nowadays. Some people will say, yes, it absolutely is. You need to have a presence on social media. Other people will say, it doesn't really matter. If you're not on a bunch of platforms, it's fine. But I have not heard any person in the industry say that it's a bad thing to be on social media. I do think it's pretty rare nowadays to find an author who is not on social media in any capacity. Most big authors, unless maybe they were already an established author before social media got started, if you're an established author, you probably have some presence somewhere on the internet. The only author off the top of my head that I can think of that has nothing that I'm aware of is Suzanne Collins, who is the author of the Hunger Games series. To my knowledge, she is not on any social media, and her website, honestly, the last time I looked at it, looked like it was from 1998. Like, is an old website. She's also, New York Times bestseller, sold millions of copies. She's doing fine. She obviously doesn't need to be on here. So I'm not saying that as a writer, as a hopefully aspiring author, I'm not saying you have to be on social media, but a lot of us are, and if that's something that you're wanting to get into, then this video is definitely for you. So the big question is, how do you present yourself on social media? And the sort of cliche answer is just be natural, just be yourself. But honestly, that's not super helpful for reasons I will get into in a minute. It's actually a really hard question to answer. Who am I going to be when I start recording? Who am I going to be when I take that photo for Instagram? Who am I going to be when I send that tweet out on Twitter? You have different versions of yourself that you use in different situations in life. So for example, you're going to act one way with your family when you're around the table for a holiday meal than you do when you're out with your friends on a Friday night, and you're going to act different there than you do when you're in a meeting with your boss. And none of those versions of yourself are fake or inauthentic necessarily. It's just different situations call for sometimes different manners, different mannerisms, different levels of casualness. And with film and photography and writing, there isn't a one-size-fits-all sort of persona that is expected. So which of those versions do you choose when you're starting to post on social media? And in my opinion, and from what I've found personally, is none of those versions of me work on camera. I had to create a new version of myself that made sense for film. And again, this isn't about being inauthentic or pretending you're someone you're not. It's just another version of yourself that you haven't had to develop yet. Most people, before they turn on a camera and start filming videos like this or start photographing themselves for Instagram or doing whatever, you haven't had to do this a whole lot. Most of the time, if you've been in videos previously, it's probably candid videos with your friends or like Christmas morning with your family kind of thing. And that's not really who you're gonna be for a YouTube video. Most people don't have on-camera experience before they start this kind of thing, which was definitely true for me. So how are you going to act in your videos then? I am talking a little bit more so about video platforms like YouTube and TikTok, and now Instagram seems to be leaning more into that video sort of platform. But of course there's Twitter also, which is text-based for the most part. You can certainly post a photo or a video over there, but generally speaking, Twitter is text. But even there you have to decide what kind of tweets are you gonna send out? Are they gonna be bitingly sarcastic? Are they going to be motivational and inspirational? Are you going to type in all lowercase and add in lots of emojis to every tweet? Or are you going to have formally structured sentences with capitals and periods where they belong? All of those different types of things are going to elicit a different type of reaction from your audience or from whoever is reading it. It's going to give off a different vibe from you when you tweet in different ways. So the first thing to remember is that your very first posts, your very first many posts, are going to be a little awkward. They're gonna be a little rough. You're gonna look back on them months or years in the future and be like, that was not it. The videos or the content that you create in the very, very beginning is not going to be representative of where you're going to end up 6 months, a year, 2 years in the future. If you look back at my first videos, which I'm not saying to do that, but they are there if you want to, you'll see a very different version of me. You'll see in a lot of them that I'm standing up. I don't think I was overly expressive, and my body language was very rigid and not a lot of movement. I feel like I use my hands a lot now, more so than I used to in those early videos because I'm more comfortable now. So where did that persona come from for me? That sort of very standing up and being super professional sort of persona that I had at that time. And I think for me, it came from teaching. When I first graduated college in 2008, I became a teacher because I had a teaching license, and I taught for 5 years, and I got really used to that standing up in front of a class and presenting something in a teacherly way. And so that sort of persona was very familiar. It was very comfortable. It was something I was really used to. So it makes sense looking back that that's the sort of version of me that I tried out at the beginning. That's what I was comfortable with. I was already uncomfortable filming videos and creating all of this, so I fell back on a persona that was comfortable and familiar to me. But did I want to be a teacher on YouTube? No, I did not. So as the months went by, I started trying out new things. If you remember last maybe like August, September timeframe, I was doing a lot of sitting on the floor. I would sit in front of that little bookcase and I tried to arrange it so it looked cute behind me. There were other videos, like now I tend to sit in a chair for my videos, or at least my Tuesday videos like this, where it's a little more of a sit down style video. I've gotten much more relaxed with talking to the camera and knowing that in a week or two you guys will actually see it and be able to comment and respond to it. But it took me months, really the better part of a year, to get comfortable and find a persona that seemed to fit me and camera. And I'm also guessing that a year from now, if I look back at videos from this time frame, I'll have changed and evolved into something a little bit different as well. I'm definitely not perfect on camera. Obviously, no one is perfect on camera. It's a constantly evolving thing. So how do you find this on-camera or photograph version of yourself? And the simple answer is practice. Nobody, 0 people are expecting that when you post your first video or you post your first photo on Instagram or you make your first tweet, no one's expecting perfection. No one's expecting super polished, high quality, amazing kind of content. It's gonna be a little rough in the beginning. You're trying something new, and anytime you try something new, unless you're a friggin' unicorn and just excel at everything, the first attempts are not gonna be all that great. You just gotta start. You gotta sit yourself in front of the camera, press record, do your thing, and then post it and see what happens. Those early posts are not gonna get a lot of views, so there's really not a whole lot of pressure, and it's gonna help you figure out who you want to be. If you look back at videos you made 2 weeks ago and you're like, oh, I don't like how I was doing this, or I don't like how I was doing that, then that's a lesson you've learned and you can apply that information to your new videos. The other thing you can try is different positions while you're on camera. So you can try standing, you can try sitting in a chair, sitting on the floor, see what feels good, see what feels natural, see what feels comfortable to you. You might find that in those different positions, it brings out different body language, different types of expression, and it might just give you a different overall feeling. I know when I was standing, I felt like I had to be very, shoulders back and very straight and very like teacherly, because that's what I was used to. But when I was sitting on the floor, typically in life, when you sit on the floor, it's much more casual. You're not teaching or you're not giving some grand presentation from the floor. So just that position made me feel more comfortable, more at ease, more casual. And I think that came across on camera quite a bit. Another thing you might try is filming in different areas of your house. Now that might not be something that everyone can do, but if you can, try it out. You might, like me, I film in my office and that works for me. You might try filming in your living room. I did 1 or 2 videos where I was filming in my living room. You might try filming outside. I would never do that, but maybe that'll be comfortable for you. So try different locations as well. Another thing I would suggest doing is going to your favorite YouTubers' channels and watching some of their videos and studying how they act on camera. You'll find some people who are like, hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we're gonna be doing this. And they're like super over the top. And for some people that works and it can be super engaging and people really like that. And if that seems to fit you, go for it. Other people are a lot more reserved. I'm thinking of people like, do you watch that Cottage Fairy channel or like Liziki? I love those channels. They're so chill, but like they talk to the camera like this. It's very calm. Everything's so aesthetic and it's just so quiet and refreshing and calming. That's awesome. I love watching that, but that's not me. I don't act like that in real life. I don't think that would work for my channel. It's just not me. But you don't really necessarily know until you try. So you could try out different personas like that and see if that vibes for you, if it makes you feel more comfortable. That's not to say you should imitate their personality exactly, but you can use them as an example of something to just try and then see if you can twist it a little bit to fit better with who you are. The last thing I would suggest is going back again to your favorite YouTubers and looking back at their very first couple videos. And I think for pretty much everyone, you're gonna see that the version they were in those first videos is wildly different than who they are now. Everybody's first videos are gonna be a little awkward. They're gonna be a little stilted and uncomfortable, and that's just where everyone starts. You have to start somewhere, and that's what it is for most people. Make sure you're not comparing your first efforts to somebody who's been on YouTube or been on Instagram for 5 or 10 years and they've got a whole crew behind them helping make their videos. Like, that's not fair. That's not fair. That's just the same as writers who compare our first drafts to published books. It's not the same thing. Your first draft is going to be nowhere near as good as somebody's published work. So make sure you're comparing apples to apples. Don't be too hard on yourself and just get going with it. But I would definitely encourage you not to wait too long. Don't wait until you think you have everything perfect. It's not going to be perfect. No one's expecting perfect. Just get something done and post it. Guaranteed like 10 people will watch it, which is a very small fraction of the world's population. It's not gonna go viral unless you're some magical unicorn. It's just your first video. It's not gonna be viewed all that much, and it can be a great place to start and grow your platforms. I will say social media is such a great place to start interacting with other people because there's a delay in it. As an introvert, one of the things that is most stressful to me is when I'm in a actual conversation with a person in real life, or when I'm doing like live streams. I'll be honest, those live streams are not always super comfy for me because it involves me having to react immediately to things people are saying in the chat or come up with conversation, and I generally tend to panic and like my mind goes completely blank. Then I'm just like silent and like, oh no, what do I do? But the great thing is when you post something, you don't have to respond to people's responses immediately. You can read comments, leave them for a while and come back. I do that all the time, I'll be honest. Usually when I post a video, oh, I'm really ratting myself out here. Okay, when I post videos, I pretty much am always on there like, who's commenting? I want to see the comments. I see the comments usually like minutes after they're posted because I'm a narcissist, I guess. I sometimes let comments sit there for a really long time. I probably should respond like immediately, but then I don't want it to be like weird, like, oh my gosh, is she just sitting there waiting for comments to come rolling in? What a loser. And I'm like, this is me. But anyway, so I do tend to leave comments for a while because that also gives me time to sort of decide how I want to respond to it. So anyway, there's a delay factor is what I'm trying to say here. You don't have to respond immediately. Having that ability to decide for myself when I want to reply is really nice, and it takes some of the pressure off having to come up with something immediately. So anyway, I hope this video was helpful for you. If it was, give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, make sure you click the subscribe button. I post videos on Tuesdays and Fridays. You can find me over on Instagram at Meredith Phillips Writes, and you can head over to my website, meredithphillips.com, to sign up for my newsletter. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I will see you next time. Bye. So I fell back. Why is my phone so freaking annoying? Oh my gosh, stop. So first of all, let's just be kind of clear here about what I'm talking. So first of all, let me just be clear about before we get into